All right, good morning and welcome back to another episode on the Coin King channel. I'm your host, Down to Crypto TA. We sold off a lot more over the weekend. Actually, not necessarily a lot more. And I'm gonna keep this video short and sweet because I do have a doctor's appointment this morning. But right now, down here in this area right here, we have our PDL right here. That is where we have the 786. Depends on how you're drawing it. If you're drawing it from our local low on the daily time frame to that local high on the daily time frame, then this is going to be where you have the 786. If you're drawing it from the absolute bottom on the daily time frame, let me just go over here to the daily. So here we are on the daily. So if you're drawing it from here, from this low to this top right here, then that's going to be your 786. If you're drawing it from this low here, which is how this is drawn right here, then you're going to be at your 50% retracement. And that's also going to be where your point of control is located at right now. So this is what we're trying to hold now. We've lost VWAP. We also lost the ascending trend line right here, which after that support along with VWAP prior to this drop. So if you did this right here, you can see we bounced that before with VWAP, and also that ascending trend line was there. So we're really trying to hold this section right here. The only thing I can tell you about this section right now is that we've also built some liquidity down below here. So there's a good chance that market makers may choose to come back for this liquidity before they attempt another bounce from this zone right here. So be aware that this liquidity is here. If you're somebody who's taking a long position from here right now, they may want to come back in here, take this bit of liquidity that's through here, and that's gonna open the door up for the possibility of getting down to the bottom side of that ascending trend line with that golden pocket retracement from the larger fib pool. Okay. Otherwise, the daily does not the daily, well, daily slightly, but the 4-hour does suggest that we could be in a recovery right now. I'm not saying that we're going to go up and make a higher high. We're probably going to put in a lower high more than anything. But the 4-hour does look kind of juicy. It's what it typically looks like for me when I'm looking for some sort of a bounce. So if I look down here, this indicator right here, so you can see right in here, you can see how whenever it gets down here like this, you know, there tends to be some sort of a push to the upside, and it is above the red line as well. So down here, once again, some sort of a push to the upside. You can see it over here. Same look. You see that same look. You just start to notice that look right here, and then it starts to get a push to the upside. Let's move, see if we can move out a little bit more and see that a few more times in here. So right in here, you can see it again, start to get that push to the upside. Again, right here, push to the upside, not as massive, but still push to the upside. So that's what I'm seeing in here on the 4-hour time frame, that we will see some sort of a more of a little bit of a move to the upside. Like I said, again, probably lower highs. Take out some of the liquidity that we have in here, because we're going to be hitting some resistance, trying to come back up anyway. It's going to be hitting some resistance, but so if you're looking to get long, I would, if you're not already in a long position and you're interested in getting long, which is like the worst thing right now, is trying to take the long position. But what else do you have to look for? Looking for a short, you need to let the market move against you a little bit more before you entertain the idea of a short, because you could mess up. Could mess up, so I would let the market come back and take this liquidity here, and then see if we can't get back above that point of control. Otherwise, I'll wait for price action to come back into here. It's not going to get too far before it delivers a little bit more of a move to the upside. At least that's my opinion. I don't feel that the market would, but we have to see how the market reacts if the market gets here, right? So that's what I'm watching for. Either this little bit of liquidity down here gets taken. I am long already off of the 786. So if it comes back, then my stop loss will be at break even. And I look to re-enter in here. So I'm not one of those people who the price has already moved against it. I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to get long in here now. No, the 786, actually the 0.816 was really the top knot entry for me. So coming back in here for the liquidity, I'm going to have to see how it reacts, which is why my stop loss is set in place. But coming back for this liquidity, I'd be looking to re-engage. But if it looks like it's going to continue down, then I won't think about it again until it comes down here. And this would be like technically the second tap into this trend line, because you have to have 2 points to connect it. We've already bounced off of it one time already. After that double connection after we created the trend line, we bounced off of it once. So coming back to it again, it makes it a little bit more weaker. It's just a tough place to be in for bulls right now, obviously. I'm just in awe that we never fully came back up to, I don't know, entice shorts a little bit more. We just never fully came back up for that. But over here, you can see like the liquidity to the upside. You also have a VWAP right here. And this is coming off of this area right here. So this was the last like area that I drew out on my chart, was this right here. So you can see the resistance right here. You can see the resistance right here. You can see that that's what we've been also coming into, is the resistance over here as well. So we're building up some liquidity overhead so we can get that liquidity and possibly come in here round about what a previous day high is. If we're going to continue to put in a lower high, then you'd be looking for price action to not flip this previous day high. If it flips this previous day high, then we're going higher. Okay, then we'd be going higher, and then from there we have some much greater liquidity overhead. And this time I just added some of the additional liquidity in here. But if we flip previous day high, then that's when we'll be looking for price action to continue up a little bit more. Possibly a complex inverse head and shoulder or something like that could get us there to flip this previous day high. Otherwise, I look for us to not flip this previous day high, and then that'll be a great place for you to want to look for a short position if the market is going to give that. So far, we did break above this ascending trend line, well, this descending trend line right here, and back test and kind of hold on to it. So again, that's with the 786, but liquidity is built up below it. Makes it a kind of dangerous little spot right here for markets to come back in and look to take that liquidity down there. Pretty choppy down here on the RSI and whatnot. Pretty choppy, no bona fide follow through, anything like that. I don't even think like on the 1 hour time frame we've gotten above the mean. I don't think we have anyway. Take a look at the mean. Yeah, we've kind of been hovering around at it, but not necessarily coming above it. I don't even have this liquidity marked out over here. I don't really need it everywhere, but we build up a great bit of liquidity above us. There were some other things I was looking at on the chart here as well, with the 15-minute and the 1 hour time frame, that also kind of, sort of suggests that we could be doing a little bit more of a move to the upside. Now, the 15-minute, if I look at the dynamic cloud, like we attempted it right in here, but we got the rejection there. So slowly it has been coming to a place where you can see us trying to come back up above this dynamic cloud in here. You can see that right here. We're trying to get back above, because we haven't been back above the cloud. Okay, so we're trying to get back above this cloud right here, which makes this a good spot right here. But again, if we're flipping the previous day high, you don't want to be taking the short right there. We'd be looking for us to not be able to flip that zone. Maybe want to see a wick left up there, not any sort of body closures or something like that. But you can see QTD to suggest that we could get up here a little bit more. here on the 15-minute time frame. Then when I look at the 1 hour time frame, I was also starting to see something similar come into play here as well, because it has been dropping down through here. The only thing here is, and I don't think we actually put it in this time, because I was looking at a possible bear div again. We didn't put the bear div in. uh Actually, we still have the bear divs. um yeah, we do still have the bear divs. Yeah, we do still have the bear divs, but I mean, it's trying. It's not there all the way just yet, but again, you can see the top side of the cloud is just slightly beyond where the previous day high is. So we'll see. We'll see. It's not too bad. But the way they drop in the price, boy, the way the price drops, oof, it's no comparison. It has definitely been the elevator down if you've been catching any of this in here. So we never made it all the way back up to the point that I wanted to make it to. A lot of change since those days on Friday. So we never made it up there to get the short position that I wanted to get. So I did try to take the short again around the 786. It broke through the 786 just a little bit more on me. And then after that, it was the weekend and I was like, forget it. Forget it. Forget it. I mean, it barely moved against me, but yeah, I did take it at 786. It just sliced through the 786 just a little bit more, pricked it a little bit more, and I got stopped out of the position. But I just didn't feel like chasing behind the price action at that point. It's on point, but I didn't feel like chasing behind it anymore. Take a look at Ethereum real quick, just because somebody had asked me about it. Now I know Ethereum did get down here and it did get a bounce off of that VWAP that I had mentioned, and I did post on that too. But either way that goes, it didn't make the full trip around right here, because we was talking about this VWAP right here, this one right here, and I circled it off. I also mentioned the ascending trend line, which it broke down below that. I double VWAP'd on this one right here. But when I posted on it, I think I only posted the one VWAP in here. I think I did. I think I only posted the one VWAP, which is this one right here, where it actually came to, and then it bounced up. But it is below any situation over here, trying to hold this VWAP right here. So basically, pretty much the same thing that Bitcoin is doing, because it's back at the no, point of control is down here. So it's back inside of the range now, within this larger range that it has, within the larger range. And right here at the golden pocket is where it's going to have the point of control at, and then 786 is going to be a value area low. I'm just pretty much leaving these things alone right here. And like I said, below this ascending trend line here, um, this one right here, because when I yeah, I wouldn't be in a hurry to mess with any of this stuff. I just wouldn't be. Um, it is a choppy mess. It is a choppy mess, but anyway, trying to get back above this VWAP, needs to get back above this ascending trend line in here too. Back in the zone up there. If it's gonna, yeah, I mean, it's holding the second VWAP. I did two VWAPs, like I said. One was from the weekly time frame, and the other one's from the daily time frame. So I did the same thing with Bitcoin, if you noticed. Just because I know it's psychological level, somebody's bound to play it. Somebody's bound to play around with that. And then over here on the daily time frame, show you this right here on the daily time frame, same indicator. If I have it over here, no, I'm not even sure if I have it in here. I probably don't, and I don't have it in here. But I mean, obviously we broke the momentum to the downside. Plain simple. We broke momentum down. The only other thing I do in this case right here is that I do a horizontal on it, just for comparison, for bullish divergence and things like that. And so that would have been me having to do something like this right here on this low right here. but we definitely broke momentum to the downside. You can see momentum broken everywhere, everywhere. So I mean, I wouldn't be looking for us to come back up here and take that out at all. And just you're rolling. But at best, we can hope for it to hold here at the point of control. Um, it won't be bullish divs though. Um, it won't be bullish divs. That's about the best that we could hope for right in here. Otherwise, when I look at me, just toss in, trying to close these down, just so we can take a look at it. Let's see, possible temporary bounce, a little temporary bounce right here, right here. It's a big old circle, but right here. And then you see how we're trying to get this cross up right there. Maybe still have cloud covers, which is simply rejections. Just showing that you get put in a lower high, something like that. But we're trying to curl up that point right there. Most of the time it works. Most of the time you're always going to have a situation where it fails, but most of the time it does work. So we'll see. We'll see. You want to check that water bud? Oh, let's go weekly. Let's just take a look here at the weekly here. It's also so in regards to a lower reference here, just talking lower right now because I know a lot of people are assuming that we're going to take out this low down here, which is on the table, that we could take out this low down here. We'll be looking for support at. Got three places. I think I've already covered the max pain scenario in here, but you have VWAP down here. We never actually came back into this VWAP right here is from our low back around the $15,000 level. And then the other one that you're seeing right here is just based on our pattern formation. So what we started to develop the pattern at was right here, the ascending broadening formation. And so that one's drawn off of there. And this one, like I said, is coming off of our low for the bull market. Our low for the bull market. So this is our value area right here with this one here. So if we do come down and take that liquidity, we can be looking to see if we can't hold VWAP and get a bounce away from VWAP, even if we're breaking VWAP slightly. Right now it's at 58,141. This is on the index chart there. You can always draw like your full fib. This is a extension fib right here for max pain. Max pain usually comes in at one of these two right here. So that's why I have it like this. And I covered it and I showed you like just historically looking back at it what that would look like. But like I said, you can always just draw your actual fib off the low in here. To your high, and you can see that even max pain comes in around the golden pocket and the 786. So it's not necessarily something fancy or anything like that. I just used the fib extension instead. That's it. That comes in perfect with the golden pocket. But the thing about it, and the reason why I'm going with this one over the golden pocket, is because anytime you have liquidity, most of the time I've noticed when the fib retracement, when the fib level sits at liquidity becomes the target and not the golden pocket or 786. So just keep that in mind for your lower disadvantage. Yeah. That's, I mean, really and truly, that's it for me in terms of what I'm thinking could happen today. um Again, if you're somebody who wants to take a long entry on Bitcoin, I would sit it out. I would, at this point, I would sit it out. I would let the market come back and take the liquidity, see what the response is after that liquidity gets taken. And if we get a nice reaction on that, then that's a legit entry. Otherwise, you want to hold out and let price come down to the golden pocket and the lower ascending trend line, which is a very simple trend line or gold, yeah, the golden pocket. How I showed you how that was pulled. That's what I would do. Otherwise, at this point, you're waiting to take your short position, right? Which I let it take some liquidity or something. You don't have to because it's a chance that it may not want to go higher than that. I just want to continue to put in these little lower highs in here. The reaction has been pretty decent down here, so um, I would rather see it take liquidity and then look for a SFP than to just in the middle of nowhere take one. Like that would have been a slight SFP right there. But if you're somebody who's interested in taking a long off of Bitcoin, this liquidity is sitting down here. It's enticing. Like we've bam. So we got some pretty good liquidity down here, but they can come in and take this liquidity from this low since we are bearish. Take this liquidity from the low and then try to make another attempt towards the upside. And then I look somewhere around the PDH up there, previous day high zone. We're building some pretty good liquidity above us. If price action comes down here and it sweeps this liquidity down here and it doesn't look like it's attempting to reclaim that point of control, then you want to look to the value area low, which again is just going to be the low of the pattern through here. So the low, and you can see how I said this was the second bounce right here because it takes two to create it. So this point here, this lower here, and this point right here, which is how I have it drawn out. If it lets me click on it, exactly how I have it drawn out is to that low. From that low to this low right here, that created a legitimate trend line. This solidified the trend line right here when we came back into it and we got that bounce away from it. So that's one you don't usually see it hold too many times because it makes it weak. So this would be like the second bounce into it if we come down here for the 786, which is simply going to be the golden pocket, which is simply going to be where this liquidity here is sitting at around 65,971. It's not the low. I don't put it on the low. I put it on the body. So that's how I draw out my liquidity. I put it on the bottom. Now I've started on the 15-minute, putting it on the candle wick, as you can see over there. But this is my standard right here. So I would look for it to come down here if it comes back for this liquidity and it looks like it's just going to do a run on liquidity and not a sweep on liquidity. If it's doing a run on liquidity, then you're going to look down here towards this section right here for price action to bounce. For 4 hour, like I said, it's oh man, it's so sticky. It's so sticky, but it looks decent. It looks decent for more of a push to the upside than continuation lower. I can't make it do it, but I mean, I'm trying for the long myself until this fails, and then I'll take my scraps on my short that I'm in. And that's it for me. That is so it for me. Hey, Salty. Good morning. I didn't see your tweet. I didn't see your message in here. I hope you've had a great weekend. I really do. The POC of the range formed in the last 2 months. I formed a side-wave impulse down, so maybe a lower high incoming and the down again. Yeah, that's what I was just saying too. Without mentioning the Elliott wave, but yeah, it looks to me like we would expect some sort of a bounce through here. My only thing is the concern for the liquidity that's sitting down here that we've built up, 3 pushes away. in the same region right here. Market makers may want to sweep this liquidity, as long as they're sweeping this liquidity and not doing a run on it. And yeah, we are back above the point of control, which is, it's been, hasn't been the greatest hold, to be honest. It hasn't held up all that great to me. But we are, we're chopping it, but that liquidity is still below this point of control in here. So that's the thing. That's the thing. So if we're sweeping that liquidity and we're front running the value area low, if we're sweeping the liquidity and we're front running the value area low, I would look at this for support on the sweep down. Let's just mark that. Make it change the color on it. If my PC is acting a little funky. Thicken it out and change it a little bit. So I would look for that. If we're sweeping it, you don't want to see it coming below. You want to see this be able to hold that support after the sweep. So about 66,973, and that's Binance chart, of course. 66,973. I look for that to be my support. And in fact, let me just sync this into the other area of my chart. So if we get the sweep, let me see how far away it would be in terms of. Come on, PC. That's pretty far off for a sweep. So nah. That would have to be a run on this liquidity and not a sweep. Ooh. Yeah, that would absolutely be a run. I'm gonna leave it here though, but that would be more of a run on this liquidity and not a sweep. If price does come back in here for this, let's take a look at CME while I'm talking. Oh wow, we left this big old gap. That's crazy. And we still have that gap up here too. But right now it's hard to, let me see, we filled in a lot of this gap already. The small gap right here. That's interesting. Yeah. Let's see. mean, so far, like we're holding where I would have looked for us to hold support based on the 4 hour time frame, but based on the daily is here. Based on the four, you can see how it would have been this right here. This would have been I'm still gonna keep this. Let me just block it from being shown on any other time frame. Let me just do it from here. Go no sync. So over here, if I was looking at it and I was trying to find my support, I would have been looking for where my pivot is in here, and that would have been exactly where you see the. It would have been this right here. So I mean, over here, that sound don't really have anything if we're coming down here other than to look at this one right here. But I mean, that's why I always add this little extra here for the 786. The same way you do it for the golden pocket. I like to always add that. For another short, I was just saying, Salty, that I personally, I would look for some liquidity to be swept personally, before making a decision on another short. Like this liquidity here, I think that this is a really good spot right here because we are hitting resistance. We're hitting the lows in here, and then you have this was a range in here over the weekend that we had. But you don't actually want to see price action flipping this because it's a previous day high. So the best bet for me is going to be maybe sweeping this liquidity right here and getting a rejection right here, or possibly sweeping the liquidity here at the previous day high to enter into a short position. Now, it will suggest that we're changing market structure in here. Also, it will suggest that because then we're going to have a neckline break. If it's really hard, then we're going to have a neckline break right here. Once price action gets above this previous day low and flips this previous day low into support, then that's usually a great marker for a continuation to the upside, at least to put in that lower high. So I mean, we've built an abundance of liquidity in here. And oh boy. Let me just see what this has been in here too. I'm gonna walk my fib level up, just kind of seeing what the hesitation is. Okay, so golden pocket. If we take this liquidity right here with the sweep, then that'll be the 786. Right in here. And see if we push this up. Okay, so that's going to line up with the PDH and the golden pocket right here. I mean, you would have to treat these like scalps at that point. Because like I said, if it flips this area, right, if it flips above this previous day high, then that's, likely going to run prices up. We'll take all of this liquidity that's through here, likely take all of that liquidity through there. And I guess we go back to looking at the value area high as the level for the ultimate short position. Is what I would be thinking here. because this is where we kept getting stopped at the 786 right through here. So yeah, it'll go back to that. So I mean, I like this with failure to reclaim it. I like this right here. But if we flip it, then the liquidity that we built up through here, um, that'll be on the table. And then of course, let's just see where the 786 from the ultimate high six, the golden pocket is from here, from this high. Let me just stretch this out because it has changed slightly since then. Yeah, I mean, so back to where basically around about where we were looking at before. So I would consider my short again. I would consider taking the short from there. And then, like I said, if we flip that, but if we end up flipping it at some point, so we put in a higher low and we flip that, then I wouldn't look again until we take this liquidity here and possibly look for rejection once again at this golden pocket right here. That's my thoughts on that. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I think, Salty. If we do have a completed 5-wave move down, then we should get a correction up at least 382. Yeah. So if we were doing a 382 off of that low, well, we can take a look at what that looks like as well. What the 382 will look like if we're, and it's going to pull from that high to this low here. Okay, so I mean, that's here. That's here, but I worry it's a little bit too much. It's a little bit too much, in my opinion. It's going to be a little bit too much because that's going to put us above previous day high. That means that we essentially would have flipped this previous day. And on the daily time frame, it'll look different. And then we'll have this liquidity sitting in our face. I don't know, maybe not. They don't want it. It is definitely something worth considering for sure. That also leaves the 50 on the table, so 382 R50. For me, I'm going to consider this area right here for a possible SFP. If I see a SFP, I'm going to take the short from here. And then if we're trading above this, then I won't be looking to take a short until we push up a little bit higher, because we'd be sitting a little bit too close to other liquidity in here, and that's going to be a bit of a concern for me. And take a look at liquidation heat map for sure. Now, I know that gap that we was just looking at did put it. That gap was what, somewhere in here. Now, the last 24 hours doesn't indicate that we have a ton of liquidity above head, at least not the last 24 hours. But like I said about that liquidity down here, possibly still being on the table if somebody was interested in taking a loan, like that part, I feel like it's doable. Let's look at the last 48 hours and see how much it changes. And so, yeah. This is just to the previous day high right here. This batch of liquidity that's right here is just to the previous day high, where we have the VWAP, and we also have the golden pocket right here as well. One of the local golden pockets right here. So if we're just getting a wick through here to take the liquidity, possibly fill in that inefficiency right there. Well, that's actually a little bit too high. That's a little bit too high. Yeah, if we're just reacting here, then I'm going to take the short attempt right here, just off of this liquidity right here. But if we flip this, then like I said, I feel like there's, more to the upside for market makers to want to come in for. I'm just look at the 3-day now. Just see. Yeah. So yeah, around this previous day high, I'm going to look to take a short. If it works for me, then, okay. If it doesn't, then I just, have to wait for it to go higher. Wait for it to entertain some of the other liquidity. I just like it because of the confluence with the in the mini range. But so liquidity, yeah, I like it. No, I like it because that also, the CME gap and all of that. But how often do we flip a low how often do we flip a prior low and fail? That's my only thing. I didn't look at that. Like, how often do we flip a prior low and fail? And that's again if we're trading above it. I mean, if we're just looking at, let's just see and try to make it make sense for me. Because we haven't come below a prior day low in here so far. We haven't done that. So if we start trading above it, I'm going to feel some kind of way. Now over here, we did break above this prior day low right here, and we got a rejection. So it's always doable. It's always very doable. And it is to be considered, because we don't know how price action is going to react around. I don't know how it's going to react around the level that I'm looking at. So it is very, very doable to look at that 382. That's extremely bearish too for a rejection at the 382. but not too often do you get above it and fail. But what is important is, basically just waiting on the reaction. You try to do anything aside from that, then let's just draw it off of here. Let me look at it from this site, from this view. Let me hide this one. Actually, let me just take away. We're at 50 right now. Then there's that. Okay, so we're looking at from here coming into here. That's a good note right there. I like that. That is a good note right there. It almost looks like if price action does come back to that point right there too, that the point of control is going to move up. It's going to shift up to here. There's not much of a difference right now between where it's sitting at here and where this node is sitting at. So it could flip. Point of control could rise up and move into this zone right here. I do like that, Salty. I like that a lot. It's like the third highest node in here. I can already see that this is the second right here. And that's the third highest node. So I like that. Okay, you said let's see, the anchored VWAP from 76K high is also around 70.5. Anchored VWAP from 76 high. This one right here. Let's take a look at that. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Right here with this node. So it is pretty nice. I definitely keep a watch on that. I like that, Salty. That's nice. Let me just zoom out a little bit so I can see this in a different light. Maybe put it on a 12. just doesn't want to travel with me. I think this is my other baby. I'm not sure. Okay. Just making sure it all lines up the further I push out. 'Cause sometimes it won't, but it does. It does. Some prior lows in here as well. Yep, I like it. I like it. Mm-mm. Oh. Oh. Mm-mm. Let me just look at this range real quick. Not that it's a legitimate range, but we are inside. So oh. So this daily inside bar at the moment. High to low. It's cutting. That is cutting. I don't like that. No, it's not useful. It's not useful right now. But this is our little range that we got going on right now for the daily. See, not seeing this anywhere else. And just put the extend on this. So obviously, if we sweep not a ton of liquidity right there. I guess we're about to find out how this and this is gonna work. It's not a lot of liquidity right here. I mean, you have the semi-equal highs right here, but liquidity really is like right around its previous day high. Let's see if we can get the push up through here. What'll happen? I still keep my guard on this liquidity down here. With a rejection. Nothing is screaming at me in here other than the fact that we could have like a complex head and shoulder, some sort of a head and shoulders possible in here, given some of the behavior changes that I can identify. I got the 200 sitting there as well. When I just looked at it. So just right here, where the value area high is for the prior, the range, which is the prior day high to the prior day low, with the inside bar open on the daily. If my PC will allow me, it's been a few days since I hit refresh or restart. Okay, so the 200 is here. 200 EMA is there. And then here is the 400 EMA. So, yeah, with that VWAP. Mm. In my opinion, we're going to have to consolidate in here in order to even be trading above this. But it's a 15-minute time frame, so we got time today. We got time, but you do have the 200 sitting here at the at the value area high in here where this liquidity sits at, which is not the greatest liquidity. This is really like the greatest liquidity here at the PDH where we have the VWAP, and you also have that. I mean, 400. All of those EMAs are not going to flip right here. We have to consolidate. So some sort of a rejection is definitely implied in here. We're trying to get above this. 1, 2, 3. Hmm. I don't know. I very much like it though. Oh, look at that. Jeez. Ooh wee. I was just about to grab this and say right in here, I definitely like this. Let's see what they doing. Cause this is the zone right here. Wow. You guys see that? This is the wow. Wow. Ooh, the QTD baby. Good Lord. Wow. Wow. Okay. Um, okay. Oh boy. Oh boy. All I can do is laugh at this. Like straight to business. Straight to business. It might have been what the 4 hour was all it was going to deliver. Then let's see, we had this point of control up here, the value area high over here. We've taken this bit of liquidity in here. We still got this in here, but this is still the rejection zone. Let's see. I'm not touching it. I'm gonna let this one ride. I'm gonna let this one ride. But that's nice for anybody who is shorting it. That's beautiful. I can't touch it. That was a little bit too aggressive. Mm, that's a little bit too aggressive. Let me check that gap. Oh, we're nowhere near that. This is starting to curl down, so it is gonna go higher on here. But it's just starting to curl on the CME. Support and control. I'm at the value area high. I'm sorry. The way I did it off of Blowfin. It's just I extended this one. I think I'm not touching it though. Nah, nah. Not touching that. It's playing out all of our 4 hour bull div, which is nice to see. Okay. I'm gonna shave some profit from my long. Wow, I really appreciate that. Good Lord. I'm gonna shave about half from my long. Oh man. I'm already up 100% off of that already. I almost dang near want to close out the whole thing. But I'm not. I'm going to take half. I'm going to kill that. All right. So I still have a portion of that going. Dang. The crazy thing is I literally I had not to sound greedy or anything like that, but I just realized a part of my profits. It just wasn't. Let me get to it. Okay. I had way more on this long position um, early this morning. And when this happened right here, I went ahead and closed out like half of it just in case, you know, waiting on that 4 hour to deliver because I kept seeing the cloud dropping on the 15 and the 1 hour, which, you know, tends to indicate that we'll get some sort of upside move as well with the bull divs. But wow, I was for sure that I was scared that we was gonna come back and take this liquidity. So I made sure I kept my position size cut. I mean, that's the full mark price right there. Of when I just clipped it from my entry. But I did just manage to take out half on this position. So I'm really excited that I just took out half on this. Wow. Oh wow. Bitcoin is going ham. We are trading above that PDH now. So and that was me being able to close out a portion right here. So I just closed out a portion right there. Yay. Dang. I oof. And that's just the 786 bounce. All right. Um we're about to come into that golden pocket. If we're gonna take all of this liquidity, we'll see. Damn. Salty, I think that shut both of us up. Yeah, that killed both of us, Salty. Dang. That yeah. Wow. Yeah, I can't touch this. Cannot touch this. That was mad. Crazy. You're taking all that liquidity. GGG's. That 4 hour though, we had a whole bull div right through here though. I know that much. And like I said, when I see the 4 hour like this, it usually indicates some sort of a pump. That's what I was saying. Like when I first came on, I said, when you see it like this, I mean, you recognize that look. But I was scared that we was gonna take this right here though. Like we drop back in here and take that little bit of liquidity right there still. But all right, let's see what we about to do. But we had you see the bull div all through here, from here to here. Like we stayed above this point right here. So straight mad bull div with the inverse head and shoulder right there. Um I was looking at I didn't pay attention to the inverse on the RSI because it's hard for me to see, but I could see the one that was down here. Jeez. Is this it? We got 44 minutes on this close right here. We have to close above here, which means that we get no bear divs on this by closing above this point right here. I think that's the highest point right here. So we have to close above here. That'd be no bear div. Drop that one now. And the 4 hour, it all the way flipped when we from where we looked at it, but that still has to close. That still has to close because we looked at I don't have it in here now, I have to put it back on. But when we looked at this one and we was talking about it was trying to flip right here. That still has to confirm. Wow. But that's your VWAP right there, Salty. So we are at that VWAP and we are at that previous what that value area high right there. Yeah. It's probably like the 50% retracement. So that is the 50 at that previous day high. I'm sorry, why I keep saying previous day high, but value area high. So I guess if somebody was taking the short, like, I mean, that would be your attempt. I'm not touching that. I refuse to touch that. But that's you all day if you taking it. Not me. Let's see how good we look. Not exactly a pine tree, but got some Christmas lights on there on the daily and the 1 minute. That's crazy. 85, 80 on that on the lower time frame. That's a bit overhyped. But look at the breakout. What happened? Let me see some news. Jeez. Oil's dumping hard. Oh my gosh. What? Oh my gosh. We got to see what's going on. I got to see what's happening. He said oil is dumping hard. But let me make sure Nvidia didn't pump too. Nah, it didn't. Okay. So hold on. It has a refresh too. Oh yeah, it is reacting. Dang. It is reacting. Got a buy signal on it too. Let me check oil. Oh yeah, big dump on oil. Big dump on oil. I'm trying to find that news right now. But yeah, big dump on oil. Big dump on oil. GGGs. Big dump on oil. Oh boy. Can't figure out what's happening. Maybe some war related stuff. Yeah, I was trying to find. Yeah, that's what I was trying to find and see if it had anything to do with that. I know we had the 48-hour you know, the 48-hour demand and all that good stuff, but I don't think it's that simple. But I can't find anything right now. Let me see. Did we just do something bad? I don't. I'm seeing something right here. Let me see if I can't. Let's see. That's crazy. I don't like the bad news. This kind of stuff right here. I seen something just a few minutes ago. I saw that it said that we had just dropped something. Um, Gosh, I hope that's not the case. Let's see. My PC let me cut some stuff out right here. Just trying to see. It's being weird with me. It's being weird. I know I got my doctor's appointment. Let me check my time. Okay, I got time. I don't even know how to navigate the change that they made. Why crypto YT? Good morning. I can't pull this source. It's not letting me. It's giving me a problem. I have to cut that. But I did just see that we yeah, anyway, somewhat escalated conflict. I don't like all the war stuff. But yeah, this looks pretty decent right now. So, but wow, let me look at volume. I'm curious. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, this you salty, you spotted that drop in oil, and that's a big deal. And then general market is trying to pump too. So, hmm, that's crazy. Let's see oil trying to recover off of that drop. Uh, let's see Nvidia got a nice little pop up. I see VIX is pumping back to the upside. And USDT dominance. I didn't even look at USDT dominance. How about that? I hope you guys don't mind the silence from the music. I try, to have something playing in the background because I know I have my little awkward moments. But I did not pay attention to the fact that USDT dominance actually came in and hit the top side of the wedgie structure right in here also. So I didn't look at this at all, but we did hit that. Mm. And then the VIX is attempting to recover in here after rejecting from that zone up there again. It's attempting to recover back up right now. I was looking at it looks pretty good. Nvidia. I started mapping out Nvidia. Um, it's a nice little bounce for Nvidia. Nothing broken yet, but definitely nice little pop up on Nvidia there. Zoom out to a 15. I'm pretty sure it looks a lot like Biddy right now. So looks a lot like Bitcoin right now. Hmm. See what SPY is looking like. Okay, SPY dropped into that VWAP. All right, got the bounce off of that VWAP there. Great. All right, and put this back on Bitcoin. I should have paid attention to those. I didn't update the analysis on those until Friday. After market closed on Friday, I updated the analysis for the next open. Those are doing pretty good. This looks just like Nvidia right now with this little flag situation we got going on in here now. I guess we'll find out. I'm not gonna try to short though, not right now. It's kind of crazy though that we just pushed up through. We're all the way above. Just looking at that, yeah, we're all the way above those now. Like that. That's a whoa. These still have to flip it, otherwise, I guess we'll see how we look when we get there. Um, wow. But I don't see a reason to touch it right now, not for the short. It looks like we might continue. Got like 25 minutes left on this 1 hour time frame, and same thing for the 4 hour time frame. We're at 70 RSI on the 1 hour. I mean, I don't like to do the overbought, oversold thing. Um, we have to consolidate in here for a little while, at least put in a range in order to cool off a little bit. It almost seems getting here to this golden pocket would be it would be a lot. Not for the 4 hour, it won't be. It will be a lot on the 15 minute and the 1 hour time frame to do so, but not for the 4 hour. 4 hour can go higher. It's just that 15 and the 1 hour time frame would start to be quite extended. Take a look at this little range we got. Let's zoom out. Come on, PC. Put it on the 1 minute. Assuming I have to go from here. Uh-oh. I'm still not touching it. But that, I mean, if you short it from in there, you bold and congratulations. I'm scared. And I guess there's no pattern here. I don't think that Trump spoke, Salty. I'll catch you later on Why Crypto to YT. Thank you so much for being here. We're back below the 382 Salty as well. So we are back below that 382. We wicked above it, but we're back below it. Back below that VWAP. That's a nice liquidity grab. That's all I can say. Nice liquidity grab. So I suppose if we can get, it's going to be hard for the 15 and the 1 hour, not hard for the 4 hour though. It's easy for the 4 hour to get into this golden pocket. It's easy to take the rest of this liquidity from the 4 hour and get into here. It's again, the 15 and the 1 hour might be a little bit different. I mean, we'll start to see bear divs or something like that. Uh, uh, mm, 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 mm. But mm, I mean, this is it. So this one was a no go. And we only get here if the 4 hour lets us go there. Otherwise, yeah, I mean that'd be the last area for me to look at. And even there, it might be able to push through it a little bit. And CME again, just Oh, we cleared CME. We cleared that gap. It was such a slow mover, though. Good lord. I guess that was our inverse too. Our inverse head and shoulder. I mean, we already talked about that. I'm just in awe right now because we haven't seen a God candle like that in a long time. Can we do the gap that's up here? Um, I had to bring this down. But this is at 786. Like that's a lot. All right, so we got the golden pocket in the 786. That gap is here at the 786, but uh, uh, wow. Come on. Computer. Jeez. Hmm. 71 range high SFP for a short 71.9. 71.9. Okay. 71.9. Yeah, we're gonna close that 4 hour with a bear div. It's not the end of the world. Um, but we definitely did not. Let me change this to white. 13 minutes left. Yeah, we're going to end up closing this with potential for a bear deal. Let me just put it like that, potential for a bear deal. But if we're holding the range and consolidating, building out any sort of a flag formation where we can continue a little bit higher to take the rest of the liquidity, I think that the end of the liquidity is going to be right in here where you were just saying somewhere around that 71.9 right in here. But that's a great, that was a great little mark right there. I can't do it right now. It is dropping, so it is rejecting. Could put in a bear div. I still think that this 4 hour can go higher, regardless of the little small reaction right here. But we'll see if that's gonna happen before we take this little liquidity in here. That was some pretty good, pretty good move. Um, but it's definitely dropping. Definitely, definitely getting that drop. It's freezing up on me, so it's keeping taking a while for stuff to disappear when I click on it. It won't even let me leave this 1 hour screen. Trying to. Just trying to highlight that liquidity was taken, but it's freezing me on this screen. Please, 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 let me go. Jeez. All right. Ideally, I would not like to come back below previous day high. That's also where the dynamic cloud sits right here as well, in line with the previous day high here. So if this is, I mean, it had a lot of volume behind it, but if it's truly a strong move to the upside, we would not slip back below previous day high. We would have flipped this into support. Then we would be able to push into the golden pocket after this little cool off here for the lower time frames. But um, either the golden pocket or the 786, I was enticed by this golden pocket. I'm not so sure right now. All we can do is just let price action come to it and see what the reaction is going to be like. Still got the liquidity that's sitting right in here, and liquidation. Yeah, we still got that liquidity up there. That's enticing for market makers right now. Come back in and get finish out grabbing this liquidity in here. We're above here now. A lot of people will see this as a change, meaning technically it is on the lower time frames a change of a chotch in here for the higher lows and the higher high continuation up at least into one of the psychological levels of the golden pocket of 786. So this will be the last of this liquidity through here to get to this golden pocket. Then we just got air between us after that to I mean, I don't see us taking out this high. I don't see it. It's not up to me. I don't see that happening unless we're flipping on the daily time frame, which I don't I'm not subscribing to that, but we can get the rest of this as long as we're above here. Wow. Oh, really? We've begun talks. Okay, that's nice. I would love nothing more than for all of this hostility to come to an end. That would be great. Definitely seeing reactions out of everything. See a lot of green in the stock market. A lot of green. A lot of green. Let's just measure this thing out right here. I just want to see. Okay, so that would have just been right back to here. Hmm. What I was saying earlier this morning is I had a lot more on my long position from the 786. I had got in just slightly below the 786, but then I was in my dreams last night. I kept seeing us drop, drop, drop. So I moved my stop loss up a little bit. And so when this candle right here came in, it took me out. Then I started thinking, okay, well, maybe because we're building liquidity down here, we'll probably take this liquidity. I'm going to re-enter, but cut my position size in half. And that's what I did. So I cut the position size in half. And I set up a limit order for just below here. The limit order, I ended up closing it out as this pump right here happened. It was like, okay, no, we're not coming back for that. But uh, good decision to not wait and to go ahead and re-enter. So I was happy that I did go ahead and re-enter on this candle wick right here. That I did decide to go ahead and re-enter because otherwise I'd be out of the market and I wouldn't have got any of this right here. And this is, I'm lucky to have gotten some of it. This is still liquidity though. Yeah. It's still liquidity, but what are the chances of it coming to it right now? That's going to be the thing is if we're flipping previous day high into support, um, then like I said, we will manage to get into at least this golden pocket, at least take the rest of the liquidity that sits through here and get to the golden pocket. I can delete this one. So we've taken that. We definitely took this. So I'm going to go ahead and delete it. No sense in hanging on to it. Took that. We got this one, which was those equals through there. So we basically got this down here. And we have the rest of this that's over here before managing to get into the golden pocket. Then, of course, we have the liquidity that's sitting up here. That's where we're at. hate to start drawing out little flags. I'm just gonna let it do whatever it's gonna do right in here. The main thing is the horizontal. That's really what's important, and get stuck paying attention to this. But the main thing is really maintaining above previous day high for continuation up. But we are flagging in this range. We are flagging. Trump. Okay, so news update. Trump says U.S. and Iran has begun talks on ending the war. All right, and you got to run. Thank you, Salty. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Thank you. I almost didn't get it though. I almost decided to give up and wait for that, and I'm glad I didn't because otherwise, yeah, I would have missed all of this. All right, it's 8 o'clock, guys. I got a doctor's appointment that I gotta get myself together for and head off to. I love you and I appreciate you so much, so much. I mean, for me, that's gonna be the main thing, maintaining above the prior day high, which you can just mark out on your chart. Maintain above the prior day high. That's going to give us that extra push, especially if the 4 hour is going to maintain and give us more, which is what it was hinting at. Um, we can take the rest of this liquidity in here. And then we just have to see what we look like once we come in, if we come into the golden pocket. If we take this liquidity in here and we manage to make our way to the golden pocket, we have to assess what the reaction is around this golden pocket for short, or if not this golden pocket, then I guess we proceed up towards the 786. I don't like when we're around liquidity though, for the 786, because it could make the liquidity a target, um, and not the 786. So best best of luck being able to short it in here. Then now that last gap on CME is somewhere within here. If you're looking at it from this chart, CME is going to look a little bit different, but it's like somewhere right in here if you're looking at it from CME. And we falter back below here, then I'm going to go back to believing that we can take this liquidity down here and we got what we're going to get out of the 4 hour. But until that happens, I feel strongly that we could continue that push up into this golden pocket. We just haven't done that for the higher time frame. There's no entry, no good short entry has been given from the higher time frame. Let me just see what the volume is like on this drop. This is declining, which can change, but it's declining right now. I guess we're all about to find out if we just about to drop back through this. Definitely fighting right here. Yeah. So yep, that I mean that's it. I mean that's my thoughts. Like if we flip this into support, we're gonna go higher. We're gonna get this. We'll at least get into here. Like we deserve a good short from the higher time frame. To be honest, we just never got that. And if it's gonna go down, then we need to be able to secure a better short position from up higher. So if we do lose this previous day high again, I do think that we'll come down here and we'll eat that liquidity up. So for anybody that's short, that would be your hopium that we would flip this, that we wouldn't be able to flip this previous day high into support, and that we would fail, and then we come in and we take this liquidity down here. At which point we probably go lower towards that golden pocket and the lower ascending trend line from the daily time frame. Um, yeah, that's where my head is. So hopefully that works. But it doesn't help. Went over one too many. We did still put in the bear deal because we didn't close above there. We need to close above this line right here. A little extended on the push out. Just see how it goes. See how it goes. Still looks good. Um, Still looks decent nonetheless. That still looks decent, but we did put in a little bit of a bear drive in here. Unless we get back up there, we did put in a little bit of a bear drive. I'm leaning towards this giving us a little bit more, but I'd be foolish to ignore this. I still, I like that. I like this. I like this. I like that. So, love you. Let me get going before I'm late. I already have to pay for parking, and then they might cancel on me if I'm not on time. So let me get myself together so I can get on the road. You know how Atlanta traffic is. It's crazy. It's crazy. So PDH, 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 PDL, PDL, PDL. Good luck,